In the vast expanse of the galaxy, the quiet was unnerving for centuries. Civilizations rose and fell, stars were born and died, and yet across it all the humans on a small blue planet remained an anomaly to the galactic races. Some considered them a primitive species, others a curiosity, but no one had ever thought them capable of anything beyond their own world. Until the signal came, the first whispers were soft, barely noticeable to the advanced ears of the galactic network. It was an energy pulse barely detectable by most, but to those who could hear it clearly, it was a cry from the very fabric of space itself. The energy signature was unlike anything the galaxy had encountered before, as if reality itself were bending and stretching in strange new ways. The signal was fleeting at first, just a brief burst of energy, and then silence. As quickly as it had come, it vanished, leaving only a sense of unease in its wake. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session to discuss the anomaly, a coalition of races representing hundreds of star systems. The meeting room was filled with representatives of the largest empires and most advanced species in the galaxy, their eyes locked on the strange readings displayed across the table screens. Most dismissed it as a fluke, a random cosmic event, not worth any serious attention. But there were those who knew better. The Zorath Dominion's head diplomat Malreth sat in silence, his cold eyes narrowed on the data, trying to make sense of something that he could not understand. The humans were not known for their technological prowess, yet this energy was unlike anything their race had ever produced. Not even the Zorath, with their ancient knowledge of quantum manipulation, had ever seen such a phenomenon. The Ikran Confederacy was the first to act swiftly, sending scouts to Earth to investigate the source of the signal. Their warships cut through the stars at the speed of light, arriving within mere days. Earth was known to be a largely unremarkable planet in a quiet solar system isolated from galactic affairs. The Ikran could not fathom that such a small, insignificant world could harbor any threat at all. But still, they did not take chances. As they neared the system, the Ikran began to send out messages to Earth's communication channels, demanding to know what they had detected and what secrets lay hidden on this distant world. However, they received no response, only an unsettling silence. Back on Earth, the United Nations held an emergency meeting. The world was in chaos. People from every corner of the planet watched in confusion as news outlets reported strange patterns in the sky and unexplained disturbances in the atmosphere. Experts could offer no answers, and every attempt to contact the stars went unanswered. The government tried to reassure the public, but there was a growing sense that something was wrong. Even those with the most advanced technology could not figure out what was happening. Earth was now in the midst of an unprecedented silence, their own signals cut off from the galactic network, and not a single trace of contact came from any alien civilization. The silence stretched on, and as the days passed, the world grew more tense. Humanity did not know what had happened or why it was happening, but something deep within their collective consciousness told them that whatever was coming next would change everything forever. The galaxy had gone silent in response, and not a single race knew what to expect when Earth finally spoke again. But one thing was certain: for the first time in history, the galaxy's attention was fixed on this insignificant little planet and the mysterious signal that had come from it. Days turned into weeks, and yet the silence from Earth remained absolute, a stillness that stretched beyond normal comprehension. The galactic network hummed with speculation, but no answers came. The Ikran ships remained in orbit around Earth's solar system, unsure of what to do with their orders to make contact, having been met with nothing but dead air. Alien fleets from various factions moved cautiously toward the outer edges of the system, but the threat of something unknown kept them at bay. Despite their size and advanced technology, no one was willing to be the first to break the silence, in fear of what might happen if they did. On Earth, there was growing panic and uncertainty as governments around the world scrambled to understand what was happening, what had caused the sudden cessation of all transmissions to and from Earth. For the first time in history, every satellite, every communication relay, every technology designed to reach the stars had gone dark. Nothing had been damaged, no attacks had been made, but something inexplicable had shut down every means of communication with the outside world. The world's leaders gathered in secret summits exchanging theories on what might be happening. Some suggested that a catastrophic cosmic event had taken place beyond their reach, while others believed that the planet had been cut off by an unknown force or entity. The idea of a weaponized shutdown was whispered among the military brass, but no one could confirm anything, and the questions only deepened with every passing day. While Earth itself seemed to be descending into uncertainty, the alien factions across the galaxy were beginning to feel the weight of the situation. Their once dismissive attitude toward humanity now turned to apprehension. No one had predicted such a sudden and absolute disconnect. No one had predicted that the quiet blue planet would become a source of fear across the galaxy. Some of the older civilizations, like the Zorith Dominion and this Lek Order, began to consider the possibility that Earth might be hiding something more dangerous than anyone could imagine. Their secretive surveillance of Earth had only revealed that the humans were not idle. They had been studying the stars and the very fabric of space for years, working on technologies that far outpaced anything known to the galaxy. The whispers of an ancient prophecy among the Trilorian collective began to surface again, an old tale that spoke of a species rising from obscurity to wield the power of creation itself. And with the disappearance of all communication from Earth, the galaxy's oldest and most powerful races began to question whether humanity had finally triggered the arrival of this fabled species. The fear was growing with every passing day, and many began to take actions that would have been unthinkable just months before. Some species began to fortify their borders, while others sent fleets to Earth's solar system under the guise of peace, but with the unmistakable intention of intimidation, as if their advanced fleets could force Earth to open its doors to them. Back on Earth, there was no grand revelation, no great transformation. Humanity's leaders had no answers for their people and could only wait in silence, unsure of the path that lay ahead. Were they preparing for an attack, or were they preparing for a change that would forever alter the course of their history? The truth was far more complex than any of them could have imagined, and as the days stretched into a month, the world remained in a state of frozen uncertainty. The very fabric of their reality had been altered, and now they could only wait for what came next. The silence hung heavy in the air, and it felt as if the entire galaxy was holding its breath, waiting for Earth to speak again, to reveal whatever it had hidden in the darkness. The silence from Earth was broken not by an explosion or a sudden burst of energy, but by a single transmission that rippled through the fabric of the galaxy like a stone cast into still waters. The signal was clean and sharp, unmistakable in its clarity. The voice of Dr. Kira Vasquez, a name that no one had recognized before, but one that would soon be known across every star system. Humanity had remained eerily quiet for weeks, and now their first message since the galactic blackout began crackled through the cosmic void. A calm and composed voice echoed across the airwaves, addressing the galaxy for the first time in history. To the galaxy at large, we have been silent for reasons of our own, but today we speak for the future of our species. The words carried a weight that no one could have anticipated. Dr. Vasquez's message was clear and deliberate. She explained that humanity had uncovered something unprecedented, something that would alter the entire course of their existence. She revealed that Earth had unlocked a breakthrough in quantum manipulation, an ability to control the very forces of spacetime in ways that had been thought impossible. The implications were staggering. No longer confined to the physical limitations of their world, humanity had unlocked the secrets of the universe itself. They could manipulate gravity, alter the flow of time, and bend light itself to their will. They had gone beyond the limitations of their technology. They had become something new, a species not just among the stars, but one that could shape the very cosmos if they so wished. The transmission was brief, but enough to send a wave of shock and disbelief across the galaxy. The alien factions were left speechless, struggling to comprehend the enormity of what they had just heard. No one had imagined that humanity had been hiding such a power under their veil of silence, and for the first time the galaxy began to question everything they had known about Earth's potential. The Rillian Confederacy was among the first to respond, sending an encrypted transmission to Earth, requesting an explanation, demanding to know what had transpired to grant humanity such abilities. They knew that Earth had been conducting experiments with quantum technologies, But never had they considered the possibility that such research could lead to a breakthrough of this magnitude. Meanwhile, the Ikran Confederacy, still reeling from their failed attempt to make contact with Earth, had begun to shift their stance. Some in their high command argued that the humans could be a potential ally, a force of unimaginable power that could tip the balance in their favor. Others, however, saw humanity as a threat too dangerous to be left unchecked. They called for an immediate military intervention to prevent the humans from using their newfound abilities to destabilize the galaxy. The Zorath Dominion and this like order, both ancient and secretive races with vast knowledge of cosmic forces, began to send their own emissaries to Earth. They had studied the stars for millennia, and had once believed that the knowledge of such power had been lost to time. The fact that humanity had uncovered it now shook them to their core. They realized that their own ancient texts had hinted at such a power, but they had never believed it was possible for any race to wield it. The message from Earth was not a plea for peace or an invitation for negotiation. It was a declaration of ascension. Humanity had revealed its hand, and it was more than the galaxy was prepared to face. On Earth, Dr. Vasquez and her team stood in the control room, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of their monitors. As they watched the galactic reactions to their transmission, they knew that their message would be met with fear and uncertainty. They had anticipated this, but what they did not expect was the sheer gravity of the situation they had set into motion. The galaxy had underestimated them for so long, and now they were about to learn the hard way that humanity had become a force they could no longer ignore. But what came next would decide whether Earth would remain a small planet in the cosmos or rise to reshape the universe itself. The galaxy was in turmoil. In every corner of the known universe, factions reacted to humanity's revelation with shock and fear. The sudden announcement sent ripples through the ranks of every major power, from the ancient Zorath Dominion to the nomadic band of spacefarers known as the Coreless Traders. No one had expected this. No one had imagined that the seemingly primitive humans, a race once thought to be insignificant, would rise to such incredible power. In the Galactic Council, a gathering of the most advanced and powerful species in the galaxy, an emergency session was called. Tensions were high as representatives from various empires and federations struggled to make sense of the message from Earth. The council chambers were filled with urgent debate and heated arguments. The Rillian ambassador, a tall, graceful figure with translucent skin that shimmered like glass, rose to speak. "This is a threat. Nothing more, nothing less," she said, her voice calm but sharp. "We cannot allow a species with such power to remain unchecked. If Earth has truly unlocked the secrets of space-time, then we must move quickly before they consolidate this power beyond our reach." The Rillians had long been allies of Earth, but now, with the discovery of humanity's newfound abilities, the alliance was in jeopardy. Opposing her was the representative from this Lake Order, an ancient race with knowledge of the stars that stretched back millennia. The Selak were deeply intrigued, but not fearful. Their leader, a being of immense intellect, spoke in soothing tones. "We must understand first," the Selak diplomat began. "Humanity has only just discovered these powers. They are not yet fully aware of what they can truly do. To act in haste could provoke an outcome far worse than we anticipate." There was wisdom in his voice, but the doubts that hung in the air were undeniable. The Ikran, a fiercely militaristic species, had already sent their fleets to Earth's solar system, a show of force that was not lost on the galaxy. Their commanders were split, some seeing the human rise as a potential ally, others as a threat to be neutralized. With their eyes focused on Earth, they were ready to do whatever it took to secure their interests, whether through diplomacy or war. Meanwhile, the Trilorian Collective, a peaceful race devoted to diplomacy and knowledge, sought a different path. Their representative, a soft-spoken individual with eyes that glowed with deep wisdom, called for calm and patience. "Humanity has shown their power, yes, but power alone does not define a species. It is how they wield it that matters. We must extend an olive branch and learn from them, not assume their intentions. His plea for reason, though heartfelt, was drowned out by the rising tide of fear that gripped the Council. On Earth, Dr. Kira Vasquez and her team watched the chaos unfold across the galaxy. Their message had been received with an intensity they hadn't fully anticipated. The reactions were mostly defensive, cautious, and laced with suspicion. Humanity had given a glimpse of what they were capable of, but what the galaxy didn't understand was that they had barely scratched the surface. Dr. Vasquez sat in front of a holographic display, her fingers hovering above the control panel as she reviewed the responses from the various galactic powers. They were ready to negotiate, to form alliances, but the window for peaceful engagement was narrowing. Humanity's position was clear. They would not be subjugated, not again. They had fought too long and too hard to rise from the ashes of their own history. The question was no longer whether humanity could survive in the galaxy. It was whether they could shape it. Humanity had discovered a force that even the oldest, most powerful civilizations hadn't fully understood. And as the galaxy's factions bickered and plotted, humanity was quietly preparing for the next step, the one that would show the universe that they were no longer the underdogs. But the galaxy wasn't ready for what came next. Humanity wasn't just preparing to defend their newfound power, they were preparing to reshape the rules of the game entirely. And with every passing moment, the pressure was building, tightening like a noose around the galaxy's throat. The tension in the galaxy was palpable as alien fleets, each one massive and imposing, hovered near Earth's solar system, waiting for a response. Some had come to negotiate, others to challenge, but none had expected what came next. The human message had left the galaxy at a crossroads, and now, Earth would show just how far they had advanced. On Earth, Dr. Kira Vasquez and her team had been working in silence, preparing for what they knew would be their first true demonstration of humanity's new capabilities. They had to prove to the galaxy that the message they sent was no empty threat. This was reality. They were no longer just observers in the cosmic game. They were now players, and their next move would define everything. In the heart of Earth's most advanced research facility, the facility that had been hidden from the public eye for decades, the team activated a massive quantum generator, one of many they had constructed since the breakthrough. It hummed with power, a deep vibration that could be felt miles away. This was their greatest achievement, a machine capable of manipulating gravitational fields on a scale never before seen. As the device powered up, Dr. Vasquez stood before a holographic display, her hands steady, her face resolute. "Initiating Phase 1, she said calmly. The device flickered to life, and the entire planet seemed to hold its breath. The sky above Earth began to shimmer, and a small, artificial moon, the size of a large asteroid, emerged from the horizon, hanging there as if summoned from nothing. The artificial moon wasn't just a physical object, it was a demonstration. It was a direct manipulation of gravity itself. Humanity had not only figured out how to control time and space, they had figured out how to manipulate mass, to pull and push objects through the void at will. With a simple gesture, they could move entire planets if they chose to. Across the galaxy, alien ships picked up the signal. It was impossible to ignore. The sky above Earth had changed, and in that moment, the universe realized that the humans had harnessed an elemental force that was beyond comprehension. From the Rillian Confederacy, a fleet commander stood silent as he observed the anomaly. Their people had long since mastered stellar engineering, but even they had never considered the possibility of artificial gravity manipulation on this scale. The moon floated above Earth, perfectly balanced, defying every law they understood. It was clear now. Humanity had cracked the very foundations of universal law. The Ikran, still bitter from their failed attempt to contact Earth, now saw the humans not as an inconvenience but as a threat, one they could not ignore. Their fleet commander ordered his ships to move into a defensive posture, wary of what this new power meant. If Earth could move a moon, they could move anything. The potential for destruction was vast, and the Ikran would be foolish to wait any longer. At the same time, the peaceful Trilorian Collective, always the advocates of diplomacy, sent a transmission to Earth, their tone desperate but calm. "We understand now," their envoy said, "but let us come together in peace before we all become ensnared by what we do not understand." But the humans had no intention of coming to the table as supplicants. The transmission was simple but direct. "We seek no conflict." Dr. Vasquez's voice rang across the galaxy once more. "But understand this, we will not hide our strength. We offer peace, but not at the cost of our sovereignty. The future is ours to shape, and no one, not a single empire, federation, or council, will dictate our place in the stars." The galaxy, once so confident in its dominance, was now gripped by an overwhelming sense of uncertainty. Humanity had shown that they were no longer a passive player. They were the ones with the power now. Earth had demonstrated its capability to manipulate space-time on a scale that could rewrite the very fabric of the universe. There was no longer any question of whether humanity would survive in the galaxy. Now the question was whether the galaxy could survive humanity. And as the floating moon slowly began to spin in orbit above Earth, the universe could only watch, holding its breath, waiting for the next move in a game that no one had ever thought possible. The demonstration of humanity's power reverberated across the galaxy like a shockwave. The artificial moon, suspended in the heavens by nothing more than humanity's will, was a clear message, a statement that no one could ignore. Earth had crossed a threshold, one that even the most advanced civilizations had feared was unattainable. The question now was not whether humanity could defend itself. It was whether the galaxy was willing to risk the wrath of a species that had only just begun to show its potential. Across the galaxy, factions that had once been unified in their belief of superior civilizations found themselves divided. The Zorath Dominion, ancient and proud, began to fracture. One faction of the Dominion saw Earth's display as a challenge to their centuries-old position as the keepers of cosmic knowledge. Their voices called for immediate action, a preemptive strike before the humans could fully understand the magnitude of their power. "We cannot allow them to grow unchecked," said Lord General Olith, a high-ranking member of the Dominion's ruling council. "If they control gravity itself, they control the stars. A species with that power will soon become a scourge upon the galaxy. We must strike now, before they consolidate their strength." But another faction within the Zorath Dominion, led by the wise elder Orith, countered, arguing that humanity had merely unlocked a fragment of the vast unknown. "To attack them now would be a betrayal of everything we stand for," Elder Orith said. "What we are seeing may be the first step towards something greater, an opportunity for the galaxy to advance alongside humanity, not in opposition to them. We must learn from them." The debate raged on, but the division was clear. Fear of humanity's potential was beginning to outweigh the traditional alliances that had held the galaxy together. Meanwhile, the Ukran Confederacy, still reeling from their failed attempt to intimidate Earth, had begun to prepare for war. Their fleet commanders saw the humans as a threat too dangerous to ignore. Their battle-hardened fleets, now circling Earth's solar system, were being reinforced. The Ikran had always valued strength above all else, and humanity's display of power had triggered an instinctual need to assert dominance. If they did not act quickly, they risked being overshadowed by this new and unpredictable force. Admiral Zrath, a battle-hardened Ikran officer, gave the order to begin maneuvering their ships into a more aggressive formation. "We will not wait for them to challenge us on our terms," he declared. "If they wish to rise, let them rise against our strength. Let them see what happens when they face the might of the Ikran." However, the Trilorian Collective, long dedicated to peace and diplomacy, took a different approach. They proposed a formal summit with Earth, eager to avoid conflict. Their emissary, Counselor Vren, made a bold offer to the humans. "Let us meet," he transmitted. "Let us share knowledge, explore the possibilities of cooperation. The galaxy is vast, and it would be far stronger with the humans as partners, not adversaries." The Rillian Confederacy, too, found themselves at a crossroads. Their leaders, once allies to Earth, now had to choose a side. Some factions pushed for collaboration, believing humanity could be a powerful ally in their shared pursuit of knowledge and advancement. Others, however, saw the risks of allowing such power to flourish unchecked. They, too, began to send ships to Earth, not in aggression, but with a proposal that was both hopeful and cautious. "Join us in peace," their message read, "and together we will shape a new future for the galaxy." The galaxy had split. Fear, curiosity, and ambition had divided the once cohesive alliances into factions with differing agendas. The tension was undeniable. Earth was no longer an insignificant player in the cosmic game. It had become the fulcrum upon which the future of the galaxy would turn. The pressure was building, with both the peaceful and the warlike races preparing for what came next. Back on Earth, Dr. Kiera Vasquez and her team watched as the galaxy's reactions unfolded in real time. They had known that their demonstration would provoke strong responses, but they hadn't expected the degree of polarization that had followed. Earth was now a symbol of both hope and fear, a catalyst for change in a galaxy long governed by power and tradition. Humanity was ready to take the next step, but the question was whether the galaxy was ready for them. The stage had been set, and every race now had to decide which path they would take, whether to fight against humanity's rise, or to join them in the creation of a new order. The galaxy stood on the precipice of something monumental, with every faction aligned either in fear or hope of humanity's newfound abilities. The tension that had been simmering for weeks now reached a boiling point. As Earth's transmissions continued to echo through the void, each new message only intensified the divide. Earth was no longer a passive species. They had declared themselves an equal, a power to be reckoned with, and the rest of the galaxy had no choice but to respond. Dr. Kiera Vasquez stood before her team once again in the heart of Earth's most secure facility. The artificial moon that hung above Earth remained as a constant reminder of what humanity was capable of, a symbol that they could reshape the very cosmos if they wished. But now, more than ever, Earth's leaders knew the true cost of that power. The galaxy was not united in awe. It was fractured by fear and ambition. Allies were becoming enemies, and enemies were becoming more desperate. The Ikran Confederacy had sent their full fleet, massive warships of unimaginable firepower now positioned near the edge of Earth's solar system. Admiral Zrath, who had been a vocal advocate for preemptive action, was ready to make his move. But even he sensed something was different now. The humans weren't just another race to be subjugated. They were a force that could, in an instant, change the balance of the galaxy. The Ikran fleet had positioned themselves as a warning, but the more they stared at the suspended moon, the more they began to doubt their own readiness to confront it. "We must strike while we still have the upper hand," Zrath ordered to his officers, though the uncertainty in his voice was unmistakable. "Move in closer. Let us show Earth the might of the Ikran." Yet, even as they closed in, the galaxy's other powers, watching from afar, were not passive. The Zorath Dominion, whose internal debates still echoed through their political chambers, had begun to take a more cautious approach. The younger faction, led by the fierce General Olith, advocated for immediate military intervention. But the elder faction, represented by Elder Orith, urged restraint, seeing the humans as more than just a threat, a sign that the universe was on the cusp of something new. "We do not know what they are capable of," Orith argued, "but we cannot face them with fear alone. Humanity's journey might be our own. They seek to rewrite the rules. Let us not be left behind." The Trilorian Collective, more than any other faction, sought peace. Their emissaries had already begun making overtures to Earth, seeking to forge an understanding that would prevent a catastrophic war. But the growing distance between those advocating for peace and those calling for dominance was making the negotiations more difficult. Humanity had already shown that it would not bend to galactic expectations. Earth's voice had resonated across the stars, and it was a challenge to the very structures of power that had held sway for millennia. Meanwhile, the Rillian Confederacy, once allies of Earth, remained divided. The more peaceful factions, who had long worked with humanity to foster understanding and cooperation, found themselves at odds with those who feared what the humans had become. If Earth has mastered the fabric of space-time, then we cannot stand idly by, the Rillian military commander, Vela, said. We must ensure they do not become a weapon that can shift the balance of the entire galaxy. Back on Earth, the team knew that every choice they made from this point forward would define the future of their species. Dr. Vasquez, now in frequent communication with Earth's global leaders, began drafting proposals for open diplomacy, humanity's invitation to the galaxy to join in an unprecedented era of cooperation. But there was no denying that many on Earth felt their newfound power gave them the right to rule, to reshape the universe in their image. As Earth's artificial moon continued to drift in orbit, a decision was made. A fleet of human ships, equipped with newly developed gravity-warping technology, prepared to leave Earth's atmosphere. It was time to send a message to the galaxy. Humanity would not wait for others to decide their future. They would take their place among the stars, with or without the galaxy's approval. The humans were no longer just the hopeful upstarts. They had become the very storm that threatened to tear the galaxy apart. And as Earth's fleet began to power up, preparing for a bold, unknown mission, the galaxy braced itself for the next chapter in this cataclysmic rise of humanity. The question now wasn't whether humanity could reshape the galaxy. It was whether anyone could stop them. The storm was coming, and the stars themselves might tremble at its arrival. The tension across the galaxy reached its zenith as humanity's fleet, equipped with their newfound quantum technology, surged forward into the vastness of space. The artificial moon still hovered above Earth, a constant reminder of what humans were now capable of. With each passing moment, the galaxy's most powerful factions, once confident in their supremacy, now found themselves questioning their place in the cosmos. The storm that Earth had unleashed was now in motion, and its trajectory was uncertain. Dr. Kira Vasquez stood in the command center, her face a mask of calm determination. The decision had been made. The fleet was ready, and humanity was about to step beyond its own solar system for the first time with the full weight of its power at its back. Every ship, every crew member was prepared for the unknown. They weren't just heading into space, they were heading toward a new future, one where humanity's place was no longer to be determined by others, but by themselves. The Rillian Confederacy, now fully aware of humanity's intentions, sent an urgent transmission, their leaders desperate to avert what they saw as an impending catastrophe. Humanity, please, the Rillian ambassador implored. We understand your power, but your actions will have consequences beyond your comprehension. The galaxy is not ready for such a shift. Join us, work with us, before it is too late. But the message was met with silence from Earth. Humanity had already made its choice. There was no turning back now. Admiral Zrath of the Ikran Confederacy, stationed at the edge of Earth's solar system, watched with a growing sense of unease as humanity's fleet powered forward. He had hoped for a swift victory, to bring the humans to heel before their power could grow too vast. But as he watched the human ships maneuver with precision and grace, using gravitational warping to navigate the stars like never before, he realized that this was not an enemy that could be intimidated. The humans had become something else, something beyond the reach of the Ikran, or any other species that had once held dominion over the galaxy. He ordered his fleet to stay in position, watching, waiting for a decision that would never come. The Ikran were no longer the dominant force in the galaxy. That title had passed. Meanwhile, the Zorath Dominion, having debated for weeks over their course of action, made a decision of their own. General Olith, leader of the more militaristic faction, called for an immediate show of force. We cannot allow humanity to dictate the future of the galaxy. Their unchecked power is a threat to us all. The Zorath fleet began moving toward Earth's solar system, their warships bristling with advanced weaponry, ready to engage if necessary. But even the Zorath Dominion found themselves divided. Elder Orith, representing the more peace-oriented faction, quietly approached Dr. Vasquez's fleet through diplomatic channels. "We see the wisdom in your actions. Humanity's time has come. But the galaxy must learn from you, not fear you. We offer you an alliance, a chance to shape the future together, not as conquerors, but as co-creators of a new era." Back on Earth, humanity was no longer divided. The divisions that had once plagued their history, war, greed, and mistrust, had been set aside. The human race had unified in the face of a cosmic truth. They had the power to shape their future. And it was a future they would build, not through violence or domination, but through a new understanding of what it meant to be part of the galaxy. Dr. Vasquez, now speaking directly to the galaxy through a secure transmission, addressed the stars. "We do not seek to control. We seek to create. Humanity stands at the dawn of a new age, one where the power of creation and understanding belongs to all, not the few. We extend an offer to every species. Join us. Together, we will forge a future that transcends the divisions of the past. This is not the end of the galaxy as you knew it. It is the beginning of something greater." As her message echoed through the galaxy, the ships of Earth's fleet continued to navigate the stars, moving beyond the reach of any single faction. It was no longer about proving their strength or asserting dominance. It was about creating a new way of being, a new order. The galaxy held its breath as the humans moved forward, no longer as outsiders, but as pioneers, architects of a new cosmic destiny. Whatever happened next, one truth was certain. Humanity had risen, not through force, but through their ability to understand and shape the very fabric of the universe. And as Earth's fleet disappeared into the stars, the galaxy knew that it was on the verge of an era like no other. A time where power was no longer about conquering, but about creating, and where humanity would not just survive, but lead the way forward. The dawn of a new era had come, and the galaxy would never be the same.